I'm Bill Palmer. I'm the editorial director for Hanley Wood for the Commercial Construction Group. We're here today to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the Portland Cement Association. That's a long time. We have with us Jim Toscas, who is the president and CEO of PCA, and John Stull, who is chairman of the board of PCA and also the CEO of U.S. Cement for Lafarge Holcim in North America. So, Jim, how has PCA survived and actually thrived for a century, considering the ups and downs of our industry? It's been a long time, and you're still around.
I think the key is adaptability. You know, the industry's changed, the marketplace has changed. There's been consolidation, there's been greater foreign ownership than there used to be years ago. And PCA has adapted to all that. And every time these changes have occurred, PCA has changed its structure, its size accordingly to adapt. So I think adaptability is the key to survival here. Survival of the fittest, I guess.
Okay. What is the, you know, there's, I think one of concrete's great strengths, but has been perceived as a weakness, is our environmental footprint, our carbon footprint. But what is the story we need to tell about resilience and carbon and concrete construction and durability?
Yeah, for me, it's a life cycle story. You know, we have to look at the use of the product from kind of cradle to grave. So yes, the initial CO2 generation is higher with cement than it is with some other building materials. But if you look at the energy efficiency of the buildings, if you look at the average life of the building, if you look at the construction piece of the concrete buildings, they have a much more environmentally smaller footprint. And so I think if we take a life cycle approach, concrete fares very well in that situation.
How are we going to get that message across? What do we do to?
Interesting you should ask that question. Basically, it's an educational and a promotional issue. I think for a long time, everybody's taken concrete for granted. Yeah, we just assume that its benefits and its properties that are so great are known by all and appreciated. But it gets out of mind, you know, for some people. They don't think about it. Some of our adversaries have been beating the drum about how green they are and so on, and we need to do the same thing. And we've been working in that direction now in collaboration with other industry associations to come up with a platform to really present concrete the way it really is and remind people what a wonderful building material it is and how it's really an essential building material.
Okay, well, let's move on to skip one question. And I know that the wood industry has been making some inroads these days into mid-rise construction, and I know that this has become an issue for the concrete industry. What are we going to do how are we going to combat that? What's the story we're given there?
So for PCA, we've taken that as an objective to work on mid-rise buildings this year. So we're adding some people to the team of PCA to work on codes and standards. We've added some budget for that purpose. You know, at the NRMCA, they've also taken this on as well. And again, we've approved some money as a board to drive to drive work in that area and to do more promotion in the area of mid-rise buildings. So that's a priority, and we're going to put some more resources and some more money towards that.
I know that you've employed a group to do some research on this. What are they going to be looking into?
Well, the first thing they're going to be looking into is what we're currently doing industry-wide. The idea being, if we don't want to reinvent the wheel anywhere, right, we're going to take advantage of all the good programs that are out there that other associations and even individual companies within the industry are running. And then put it all together and say, how can we coordinate these efforts to give a more strong presence? But more importantly, we're trying to get the industry to be more cohesive in the marketplace than it's been. By nature, our industry is very fragmented. It's because there's some very specialized uses of concrete. It's a highly evolved material. It's not just a generic product. And now it's time to kind of collect terms and say, okay, what are some of the things we can all say that are true about concrete in general, regardless of which particular application you might have? And part of this research is to identify those things.
Okay. How do we get that message to architects and designers that are the ones who often make that decision?
There are a lot of channels to reach those professionals. They're educational channels, they're promotional channels. Our experience has been sometimes you have to go where they are. You go to their conferences and you present educational sessions to try to change their minds. There are programs too that we've done through educational outreach foundations at the student and educational level, colleges, so that as these people are being educated and trained to be architects and engineers, they're getting a balanced picture of the different building materials, and they're not being indoctrinated to one particular mindset. So this is a long-term issue. This is not something you just turn on a promotional program and it's fixed. Right. It's an engagement with each succeeding generation of professionals and making sure that from the time they become a professional all the way through their careers, they're hearing the message about what a great building material concrete is.
Good. Okay. Let's talk a little bit more about PCA. You know, with the international scope of the cement industry, has PCA ever considered becoming a more international organization, or you're really just North American?
Right now we're really focused on just North America. We collaborate with a lot of the international associations, and as an international company ourselves, we have presence on a lot of those boards and work with some of the international promotional organizations. But I think the best way to do it is through collaboration and coordination. And so we often invite people from other associations to come to PCA. We visit other associations so that we can have a common message and having common strategies for things like CO2 and those type of things.
Okay. So there's a lot of opportunities and innovations that are going to be taking place. It seems like it's continuous. What do you see coming in the next 10 years in the cement and concrete business?
No, I think in the concrete business, you know, we want products that are more specialized. So we have, you're going to see products that are more specialized to particular applications, such as flooring. You know, if you look at things like warehouses and you know, big distribution centers, people want seamless flooring so that they don't have their goods jarred as the forklift drives across the floor. So there are products for that. There are specialized products for walls. I think there are going to be more green products focused on energy utilization. Keeping things in place. We had a project yesterday we talked about where they wanted to keep the asphalt in place, so they used, they ground up the asphalt, they used some cement and replaced that you know, back on the same ground so that it didn't have to be hauled back into the city. So I think it was a great application, a great, you know, a great way of saving in the environment and also you know, getting a good quality product at the end.
What do you see for PCA in the coming years?
Continuing to adapt. As the marketplace changes, the needs of our members change, the nature of the structure of the industry changes, to continue to adapt and thrive.
And I think that for the PCA, for me, you know, I think we're really blessed to have a really good staff, a strong staff of experts and people who are well known in the industry, and really are good sources of information. So many times customers come up to me and say, you know, I was speaking to this expert at the PCA. They were very helpful in helping us with our project, getting us some information. So PCA really is seen as a leader in terms of thought and in terms of know-how within the industry.
Okay, thank you. Congratulations again on 100 years for PCA.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Jim.